Hi, my name is Cynthia and today's video is going to be... we are going to do a buttonhole and sew on a button with our sewing machine. One thing that I would advise you to have with you all the time is your manual. This thing is your Bible. You should always have it with you because it will tell you anything that you need to know that is relative to your machine. They are all different but ultimately do the same thing. It's very important that you have it with you, and if you don't have it, I don't know where I put mine, I lost it, but I have a PDF version on my iPad that I downloaded for free. So all you need to do is put your make and the serial number on it and it will give you the PDF to download, which is really good. Yeah, so stay tuned for this tutorial.
Alright, so to start off with, you would need a piece of scraps of material, like so. I put on the double preferably, your buttonhole foot, and of course a button. It's always advised before you sew on a buttonhole on your nice piece of fabric or garment or bag to try it out on some scraps of material, and the reason being is that way you can double check the settings of your machine. Different thickness will do different settings, and to refresh your memory by the same token. Alright, so let's take a closer look to the foot, shall we? So you will have a sliding bit in the middle, and the little square around is going to stay still on your fabric while you're sewing. And on the side there you have a grid, and that is to help you out with the sizing of your button. On the sides of the sliding part of the foot you will have those little red dots, and that's actually going to be your guide when you're going to sew the buttonhole together. Alright, so now we need to figure out how big we want our buttonhole to be, and that's where the grid on the side of our button foot is going to come handy. So I'm just going to place my button on the grid. I'm going to place it on its fattest part and from the first marking, and I'm going to see where it lands on the other side, and I'm going to mark it a few millimeters bigger than the button itself, so it's going to slide through the buttonhole a lot better. I'm marking it on the foot there just for this tutorial. You don't have to do it, and if you want you can also measure it with a measuring tape if you prefer to do so. On the slide there you have the red dots on each side, which are your guide for your sewing later on, and all you need to do is make sure that you're going to sew in between those two markings using that guide. So I'm going to show you a 4-step buttonhole, and that's because that's all I have on my machine. Bear in mind that some machines out there will have a 1-step buttonhole, but they're usually quite easy and straightforward to use as well. The first thing we need to do is change the foot, and I'm going to take my regular foot out and place my buttonhole foot. For the length of my stitch I'm going to set it between 1.5 and F. Alright, so first stitch we're going to make, you're going to set your wheel on A, and that's going to be a zigzag. You need to make sure as well that your foot is pushed all the way against the slide, just like so, and you're going to make up a few stitches. Now what it's going to do is a zigzag standing still, and that's going to make up the side of your buttonhole. Next you're going to set the wheel to B. So next I'm going to start sewing, and I don't need to push or pull my fabric. The foot is going to do that for me. All I need to worry about is to stop at the right marking. So I'm going to make sure I watch the red dot on my slide, and I'm going to stop where I have decided to stop for my buttonhole. Next I'm going to set my machine on C. Then all I need to do is sew on a few stitches. It's going to make up the other end of my buttonhole. When I want to change my stitch, I make sure that my needle is on the up position. And now I'm going to change again to D. So now all there is left to do is to complete the buttonhole. So just going to sew up until the other side of the buttonhole. Sometimes the two zigzag won't actually look too much the same, so some of the machine will have a little dial that you can play around to have them looking identical. Not all the machine have them, and the machine will behave differently depending on which type of fabric you're going to have. Personally, it doesn't bother me, but if it does for you and you have that dial, I'll advise you to look into your manual for that. So that's how my buttonhole looks like so far, and it just needs to be opened up. So I'm going to use a unpick or seam ripper. That's two names for these little things, and you just need to be a bit careful with these because they are deadly sharp, and the blade is on this curved part here, and you're going to use the pointy bit to help you out with it. So all you need to do is start with one end, insert the pointy bit into the fabric, and then cut right up to the middle and make sure you don't section your stitching. When you reach the middle, stop there, and then you're going to repeat this process from the other side. Doing that way you will ensure that you don't cut through your buttonhole, because it's very easy to do so with those little things. They really are sharp. So I'm going to show you how easily you can rip your fabric with these little things. So it's very easy, you don't even need too much force to go through it, and that's how easy you can cut through your fabric. So it would be a pity that you destroy whatever you're making with on the last steps basically. So now I'm going to show you how to sew on a button, and for that you will need a button foot, and it will look like this. The little curved bit on the end will go on the back of your machine, and you will need a darning plate. That's usually coming in with your machine. Now you're going to set your machine on a zigzag stitch. My button foot is on, and the two prongs will be on the front and the curved bit on the back, and I'm putting also my darning plate. That's going to stop the feeder from working, and I make sure that my needle is going through the hole. Next I'm going to place my fabric underneath the foot, and then I'm going to place the button, and I'm going to make sure the holes that I want to sew are lined up with the prongs of my foot. Next, all I need to do is tweak my needle so the zigzag will fall in between the two holes. So I need my needle to be able to go back and forth in the holes I want to sew. So once I'm happy with my setting, I can actually start using my machine with my foot and do a few stitches back and forth, and it's going to make a zigzag. The darning plate is in place, so the feeder won't actually try to grab the fabric and the button, so everything is going to stay in place. Once I'm happy with it, I can take it off and tie a knot with the thread on the back. Sorry, I forgot to film that part, so I'm just going to tell you. So that's it, you've sewn your first buttonhole and put on your buttons with your machine. So it's as simple as, and all you need to do is really practice on scraps of fabric before you do it on your proper garment. And that's it for today. I hope you find this tutorial enjoyable and helpful, and if you have any questions you can post them in the comment section below, and as usual I'll see you in the next video. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter and etc. Bye bye.